So, let me introduce Gunther Verheyen. Is that okay? And he's all the way from Belgium, and I'd very much like to thank him for coming over here at his own expense as well, all the way from Belgium to give us this keynote. And you know, he's been graduated in 1992, I think it is, and he's been working in consulting since 2010. And he joined Scrum.org with Ken's favour in 2013. Ken was a co-creator of Scrum, and he partnered with Ken on the Professional Scrum series, and also working on the Agility Path and the Nexus scaling Scrum. And worked in Europe with training partners and so on. And only this year left Scrum.org and has gone back to independent consulting. And he wrote Scrum the Proper Guide and is working with large organizations helping them scale and transition to Scrum. So I'd very much like to thank him for coming over here. He just mentioned to me actually that the last time he was here was on his honeymoon, so I'd like you to welcome him back.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Technology even works. Okay, cool. Like Frank said, it's been a while since I was in Dublin, so I got my transit all the way from Belgium. Well, that's not. There's one sea, this little piece of land called Britain, and another sea, it's already in Belgium. It's not too far away. But like Frank said, my last visit to Dublin was in 1998, and it was my honeymoon actually. Imagine a Belgian guy coming for his honeymoon to Ireland. So I went to Ireland, flying drive, visited South Florida. Just because I sort of, by that time, I still fell in love a little bit with your country. Because my first ever working experience was actually in Ireland. 1993, even a long time ago. I worked for a Belgian company, but we did services for a company called White. It's baby food and food and so on. So it's South of Ireland, near the Shannon, beautiful river. And a young bloke of 23. And you know, like this goes in IT work, everything was always late, overtime, overburst and whatever. So there was always people that had to stay longer at the company we were working for, Wyatt. And I was young, single by then. I was volunteered to stay longer. It certainly improved my English. Now, not really my English, my Irish version of English. That also meant for them like 3 regular words. I used 5 times the word with the F-U-C-K. So when I came back afterwards, and people said, "Are you from Ireland?" Because first of all, I was sort of Irish accent in my English, and I used the F word way too much. But that's sort of my Irish. So that's sort of my history with Ireland. It's still lovely country. So I'm really happy to be back over. Like Frank said, I've got some sort of history in Scrum. I started working with extreme programming back in 2003. Who knows extreme programming? At least some people. Who actually does apply extreme programming? Fewer people. It's too bad. What if you would do more extreme programming? What if you would wrap extreme programming into the Scrum framework? You would have even a lot better results. Then we added Scrum to that, and as from then I just kept on doing Scrum. Part of consulting companies, big consulting companies, 3 years working with great chemists in the world. Working for Europe, scaling people that want to become an official professional Scrum trainer. That was one rule at least, it's totally stressing interview. So that's fascinating. Yeah. But I'm here to talk a little bit about what I call the future present of Scrum. Let's have a quick look at it. So let me first try to get to know you a little bit. It's also shown you that. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of things Agile going on these days. So Agile Manifesto was created in 2001. It took off slowly, gradually. It grew. It became bigger. It started spreading. So as from 2005, so it was sort of like what we call it was sort of crossing the chasm. It was sort of getting out of some sort of dungeon type underground thing in becoming a hub. Also turned into an industry, unfortunately, a little bit. A lot of people seeing a lot of money in it, but that's fine. Let me quickly check with you what sort of Agile, because Agile in a way is sort of umbrella. It's also sort of just describing the mindset of set of values also. What sort of agile do you do? Who does like lean, but not the lean, fluffy, organizational stuff that nobody understands, but lean software development. Who's doing lean software development as part of Scrum? Common people. Anybody doing Kanban? Cool. Anybody doing DevOps? Do you think that we should do something that might look like DevOps? Yeah, okay. Anybody doing safe? Has to be big, has to be fight complexity, sort of thing. Okay? Some people say, okay. Anybody going for the Spotify model? Spotify model not being adopted in Ireland yet. Okay, cool, keep it like that. Not because it's a bad model, but you should develop your own model and not copy paste some sort of existing thing. It sort of pisses off the Spotify guys so much that everybody's sort of copying their model instead of developing their own model, and it's still changing out. Anybody knows about that? Discipline Agile Tour Dublin. Anybody doing extreme program? We already know at least 4 people, 5 people out of 300. Happy to do it for a lot of software. Anybody doing Scrum? Alright, keep your hands up. Anybody say, okay, we're doing something that might look like Scrum. See, now so we almost all hands go. That's okay, that's okay. We're sort of trying to move past this Scrum bug thing. Who remembers Scrum bug? Like pointing at you, hunting your knife, giving your knife, oh, this is Scrum bug, you know. Okay, let's try to move to a sort of more positive view of the world and talk about Scrum and oh yeah, okay, you do Scrum if you've got a number of things in place, and you could do even a lot better if you also do these things. That's cool. So, you just given me a good reason why I keep calling myself now 30 hours an independent consultant. I just focus on Scrum. There's a lot of people, Agile and Agile transformations and Agile coaches and whatever. I don't care. I do Scrum. It's a definition of Agile, but it's maybe by accident, but it's the most important definition of Agile. And I think it's very transparent. I try to be transparent towards the organization that I work with, saying, hey, I do Scrum. I help you become Agile, I'll help you increase your agility by implementing Scrum. It's very tangible, it's actionable, it's something you can do. It's got these beautiful instruments, like the artifact that we have. I can help people manage problem backlog, I can facilitate people. It's so much more clear for me than just calling myself an Agile. And it's sort of all over the place. So I live in Belgium, faraway Belgium. There's another faraway country next to that, it's called the Netherlands. And in the Netherlands, like Scrum is all over the place. It really helped me a lot. As from 2010, 2011, suddenly there was sort of second wave of Scrum in the Netherlands. The first wave was about 2005. And suddenly everybody wanted to do Scrum. And it's gone so bad, so evil, that Scrum is even being applied outside of IT. Oh no, in the educational system, there's Agile Scrum. I recently wrote a forward for people that want to do Scrum in the construction world, building houses, managing construction projects and so on, using Scrum. It's called Scrum for Build. So just Scrum inside of IT was so big that it started seeping through to other domains. It's really beautiful because I think it can be a really great engine of innovation and change. Also, in a way, for society. So that's really cool. So Scrum, you know how old Scrum is? It was the first time ever published in 1995. That's a very long time ago. That's also why I always say, oh, maybe Scrum is not a hype anymore. It's been around for 20, 21 years, so I think it's going to stay around for a little bit longer. In those beautiful 21 years, it's now like at least 70% in service of all Agile teams saying, hey, we're doing Scrum. It's probably growing up to 90% if you ask something that might look like Scrum. But something might turn into something that looks like Scrum. Things like that. It's really fascinating. We did a little search on Amazon.com for books on Scrum, and we did the sports thing, and there was an amazing amount of books written about Scrum. It's really beautiful, and the most beautiful thing that I think is that there's a Scrum guide. Who knows the Scrum guide? Cool. Who has read the Scrum Guide? Cool. More people, that's cool. So there's the Scrum Guide and it's free. It's just, you can, there's no licensing, there's no copywriting on Scrum. I think that's one of the factors that turns Scrum into a sort of success also. But anyhow, so Scrum turning 21. Oh, it's no longer high. Let's agree it's no longer high. Cool. So this is one of the surveys. Who knows this survey? Version 1, the yearly digital, state of digital type of things. So there's 58% of people saying they do Scrum. There's 10% of people saying, hey, you do Scrum combined with extreme programming. I saw we said was sort of the other way around. But still, that invitation, please go look into extreme programming. The practices are still great. So this is about 70% of all people on the world saying they do Agile via Scrum. In other surveys it goes up to 90%, so sort of depending on the source. At least the majority of teams worldwide say they do Scrum or something that might look like Scrum. Cool. What do you think was the real key to this success? What made Scrum so big? The biggest, the largest adopted method for Agile software development?
Simplicity.
The simplicity of Scrum? Fighting complexity with simplicity?
And certification.
Yep.
Being transparent.
Introducing the idea of transparency? That works.
Works.
It actually works. Yeah. Cool. Then I remind you a little bit, one of us talked to Jeff Sutton. So Scrum once was sort of co-created by Ken and Jeff. Long time ago, back in 1995, 92, 95, sort of when Ken and Jeff were working together. Jeff said that he went up to Ken saying, well, you're selling all these sort of big thing methodologies, very, very prescriptive, whatever. Come look at what we're doing, and this is something that actually works. So that's sort of really happening. And maybe that's one of the reasons, because Scrum was just a framework capturing, describing things that we were actually doing. It was not created on some sort of design board or theoretical model. It was just a summary of what Ken and Jeff actually were doing. So that's one aspect. Other things that you think are important in success of Scrum?
A simple recipe.
It's simple. Also, the Scrum Guide only prescribing the minimal rules and roles that you need to have in place. Those minimal rules, you can wrap lots of practices within them. What I think is the real key success factor to Scrum actually is you. It's actually people exploring, using Scrum, applying Scrum. It's like you're part of those 70 to 90% of all people worldwide saying we're doing Scrum. So Scrum, the success of Scrum is just the fact that it's being adopted by people using it to tackle really difficult, complex problems and so on. So I really want to thank you for the success of Scrum. It's got nothing to do with me, Jeff, whatever. It's really thank you for the success of Scrum. And please keep turning it into a success. Keep using it, keep employing it, keep adding practices to it, wrapping it, and so on. Now, if you come to think about it, let's go back to a little bit about sort of your skills in Scrum. Can I just do a little survey again with you guys? Okay. What would you say are your skills in Scrum? You know what? I've only read about it, never actually done it, so maybe I don't have really skills. Anybody? It's okay, I won't blame you. There's no incentives, there's no bonuses. Anybody say, no, well, I've only heard about it? Right, cool. See if you can dive a little bit deeper into that. Maybe you're like, oh, it's just starting with Scrum. Let's call that sort of unchallenged. I'm still thinking about it, I'm starting with it. Alright, cool. What if you would say, I'm so well versed, I've done Scrum for 1 to 5 years, done this different circumstances, maybe different technologies, different teams, different. Yeah? No, still, for the majority of the room, cool. But if you would say, yeah, I've done it at least for 5 years, I've seen the difficulties, I've seen the challenges, I know all this stuff, it's sort of, that's called sort of level of mastery. Cool. Now, if we bring that together, so Scrum's been around for 21 years. Most of the teams say they're doing Scrum. You've got some pretty average, let's say, skills in Scrum, pretty good. Doesn't mean we're done with Scrum. It's over Scrum. We've been there. It's done. All problems solved. what do you guys think? Are we done with Scrum? If yes, then this will be my shortest talk ever. I don't think we're done with Scrum. It's a journey. Maybe the journey continues and we still keep on discovering. Without, in a way, and that's fascinating, without changing those simple rules of Scrum, the simplicity of Scrum. Who knows about the latest update of the Scrum Guide? So, early July. What did it entitle? What was updated in the Scrum Guide? You know?
Values.
Yeah, additional the Scrum values. I think that is an indication, the fact that Ken and Jeff now decided to add, in a way, finally the Scrum values to the Scrum Guide. I think that's an indication of how they see Scrum being adopted in the world. Time has come to move away from just Scrum, IT process, the IT side of things, and just add the values. It's not no more just about process. It's much more about your behavior and your stance on what you do every day than just following the process. And I think Ken and Jeff opening up to the idea of adding the Scrum values to the Scrum Guide is an indication of that. So no, let's agree that we're not done with Scrum. Oh, let's make it a little more concrete. If we're not done with Scrum, what would be your number one challenge in Scrum? What would be your number one challenge trying to move forward with Scrum with your team, your department, your organization? Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Everything you do is time box. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And why would you not talk to each other? Just talk to your neighbors, maybe 2, 3 people together. Take 2 minutes and share what are your biggest challenges moving forward with Scrum. Yeah? Take 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I will just raise my hand. I see it's time to get a room of 300 people to stop talking. You'll get plenty of chances to talk today. So cool. Maybe let's share a couple of challenges. I can't go through all of them. Some challenges that you have moving forward with Scrum.
Co-location. You have one co-located team.
Okay, so distribute the team and disperse the team. We have to work with 4 teams, just spread in 3 locations.
I work with one team with 7 people in 3 different locations.
Hopefully also in very different time zones. Otherwise it would be too easy, right? Okay, other challenges?
People are not taking forward, so they are not really, so if, for example, jobs are not ready, they are not screening, not asking for backups to be ready, so the thing is like doing the school, but this is school part.
Okay. No focus, no priorities, no development practices or engineering stuff?
The practices are there, but really what is not really to be done are room before starting schooling.
Following the not following, which is enough. There's not, there's accepting no responsibility.
So every sprint turns into a chaos because things have not been defined enough. And most of all, probably...
Accepting the stories without making sure that they understand these stories. So management just said they shouldn't do that.
And if you try to use the retrospective for that,
Yeah, we can do that.
thank you. Look for motivated people. For motivated people. Make the best out of what you have. It could have been so much more beautiful. Okay,
Working as a Scrum team within an organization.
So there's sort of limited to the execution of things and
You take a deadline from the IR, and you have to work with that deadline within your.
yeah. So the old school iron triangle software from fixing scope, time, budget, and still delivering low quality. Yeah, more challenges?
Getting data from the business.
Yeah. Imagine a product would be someone from the business. Ooh, no, that's the enemy. Right? Yeah? In the back?
For team departments and organizations, would be like agile mindset. Having the mindset to be open to Scrum and understanding.
Yeah. not just seeing Scrum as sort of black and white steps to follow, a cookbook process.
Simple, simpler actually is simple. I think the mindset is open, it is simple. But yeah, we have 1,000+ books on Amazon and people that really struggle with it. So I think if you open your mind to it, it's there. But if your mind is closed to it.
Yeah, there's this fascinating ambiguity, right? Scrum is so simple, why is it then so difficult to follow and to implement? And a lot has to do with sort of the mindset and the underlying principles, like embracing empiricism instead of fixing deadlines and scope or whatever up front. Yeah. More challenges that you have?
Synchronizing teams, so scaling Scrum.
Okay, so Scrum at sort of larger scale or even large. Okay. Yeah, one more.
Upfront design. Upfront design solution.
Yeah. Okay. And your architecture needs to be confront and this whatever needs to be blueprinted, and this is what we can do. Try not to deviate. And if you deviate, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's more from waterfall development model.
Okay. Okay, cool. Seems like we have done this Scrum yet. Plenty of challenges. I've tried to summarize a couple of them, but first a little action. Instead of sitting looking at those problems and challenges, what are you guys doing about it? Try to do what you can. Be a bit rebellious sometimes. Do more than you're allowed to do. So what are you doing about it? And if you can't step in, what is your Scrum Master doing about it? Because a lot of these things sound like sort of impediments, maybe organizational impediments. Is your Scrum Master also a sort of lead for the organization? Helping managers and other companies and other departments and other structures understanding Scrum and so on. So what's your Scrum Master doing about it? Does your manager know? Are you willing to step in? Are you finding some sort of sponsor? So don't just sit and wait for other people to solve your problems. Try to step in also yourself and take some action. That's one question that I have for you. So, and here's sort of overview. So there's plenty of challenges. And for me, one of the biggest challenges, again, like the success of Scrum is people. Again, it starts and ends with people. It's about re-engaging maybe the workforce, re-engaging people, making them feel connected again to the work they do, to be a part of the product that they're building. So it starts and ends with people. I think Scrum is a beautiful tool to what I call humanize the workplace again. Use the creativity, the knowledge, the intelligence of the people that you have. If you work like with 3 or 5, 4 teams, use the insights that those people have. So it starts and ends with people. That's a bit a strange finding because I've worked 5 years ago a lot with ING. They're now known in Belgium at least for laying off 1/3 of their workforce currently, but that's and it's because they go to adopt the Spotify model. Anyhow, I've worked a lot with them 5 years ago, and they were like a very waterfall-driven company, full of processes, control structures. Prince 2, do you know? Does anybody know Prince 2? Yeah. Does that exist in Ireland?
Yes.
You're lost. Please go find another. No. So that was sort of the thinking they were completely embedded in, and then just step by step they moved away from it. Still not big enough. But fascinating thing, I worked a lot with it 5 years ago, then it was Scrum, and then suddenly all had to be DevOps. And then they would go for safe had to be sort of whatever this architecture model they go at some point in time. And then it was Spotify again, so maybe a bit of lack of stability too. Although underneath, they were still trying to do Scrum properly. They were just giving it different names and very strange names and so on. Fascinating thing, they started with that 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, they did a lot of improvements, still not good enough. And I think one of the reasons is why they still forgot that it's all about people. You can have people reapply for new jobs, give them new job titles and so on. And you know what? In the end, that's not really the behavior. You're looking for behavior of people, the stance of people. So it starts and ends with people. And anyhow, when we talk about Scrum, so at Scrum.org we like to use the term professional Scrum a lot. What we think is professional Scrum, so professional way to do Scrum, but also what identifies a Scrum professional, is not just blindly following the ceremonies. I think you all know that, right? Oh yeah, we do a daily Scrum, and that's, oh, now doing Scrum. Maybe there's more to it. So not just blindly following the ceremonies, black and white, but understanding and following and enacting the ceremonies from an understanding of what we call the principles and values. So the values expressed in the Agile Manifesto, also the 12 principles underlying the Agile Manifesto, also the Scrum values. So behaving according to those values and principles. But certainly room for what we call technical excellence, good development standards, good development engineering practices and standards. Having those three things in place is what we would call professional Scrum. It's still Scrum, you could call it proper Scrum. There's already enough companies just following the rules of Scrum. Now, okay, we're now just going to adopt the process, we're not going to think about it too much, and everything will magically work out. Maybe not. So there's this room for improvement called professional Scrum, creating releasable software every sprint. The basis of what I would call enterprise or business agility. So Scrum in itself is for me never the goal. Scrum is a tool. It's not about Scrum, it's about what you want to achieve by adopting Scrum. And that means there's a lot of turbulence out there, there's a lot of change, there's a lot of changes. Markets, competition are moving all the time, so you have some agility, flexibility, responsiveness, the ability to cope with change, and hopefully even cause change for other people to follow. So that's maybe that if you have a sort of why for Scrum in your organization, that might help you go through the difficulties and adopting it properly. What I call the power in my book, the power of possible products. So growing ownership, better product ownership, what you call engaging business people in the process, maybe up to even, I don't know, salespeople, legal, finance, marketing people in the process. And then all this scaling stuff, it was a huge hype for at least past 3, 4, 5 years. Seems to be decreasing a little bit. So I think the goal of scaling Scrum should be to scale the effectiveness of Scrum, and not just all the dysfunctions you're trying to hide by not doing Scrum properly. So you can easily not produce releasable software with one team, and you can easily not produce releasable software with 5 teams. Maybe you want to try to create releasable software with one team first, and then scale up the effectiveness of that process and that way of working. So maximize Scrum before you start scaling Scrum. Yeah? Oh, we've got 20 teams in place, let's all do Scrum. Maybe that's not really working. Maybe you want to think about how you do Scrum first. And then embedding sort of Scrum in the enterprise. Scrum is no longer tied to the IT department, even if business is involved, it's no longer tied to that or limited to that scope only. It's going to affect so many areas of the organization. Up to HR, the beautiful contradiction, human resources, human are not resources. Let's try to help them go to what we call people practices more, and help management understand Scrum. So embedding Scrum in the organization so that it really turns into a tool for enterprise agility. So that's a lot of challenges. Somebody's lost. Oh, who's going to help me out of this? It's too much. Just get me my feet back on the ground. So let's try to help this poor little guy in a moment. And I want to show you a little quote. I put it on a blog of mine like a year ago. Just quickly read the quote. So if you think about purpose, for me that also means thinking about people. Appeal to the professionalism of people, appeal to the engagement of people, give them in a way a purpose. Here's the purpose of Scrum. Try to build a releasable piece of software, a releasable version of product, a release candidate by the end of every 2, 3, 4 weeks. That's a purpose to strive for. So I think that's the crucial element of Scrum. And it seems to be sort of out of the picture. People think, let's just follow the process. Let's give a purpose to the process. And let's give the people following the process, applying the process, enjoying the process. Let's give them a little purpose. So let's go back to this core a little bit. So if I look at Scrum, I try to consider Scrum as a sort of system. I know it's got in the Scrum Guide, it's got the rules, the events, the artifacts, whatever. Those are just particular singular elements of Scrum. For me, it's about the whole. So Scrum for me is a system. The system has an input. In Scrum, that's called a product backlog. It's got ideas, options, opportunities, things you want to invest, work you think you need to do, whether you express them as user stories or not, I don't care, Scrum doesn't care, so sort of gently let us straight in that. Just a product backlog, it's being fed into the system. The goal of the system is to produce an output. In Scrum, that's called an increment. Let's hope the increment brings value to your users, your customers, the people that pay for your product, that are ready to upgrade, and so on. So that's the goal of Scrum. Feed a product backlog in and get an increment out. And then what's unique about Scrum, it's not an open system, so it's got feedback loops. It's got feedback loops within the system, even the daily Scrum. Also all of your engineering practices are feedback loops within a sprint. But certainly you want to create feedback upon that increment and feed it back into the system, improve your product backlog, get new ideas in, change, be open for change, and so on. So that's the goal of Scrum, closing the feedback loops with the goal of producing an increment that hopefully brings value to your users. So if you do that with one team, that seems to be, in a lot of circumstances, fairly easy. One team, fairly simple. You have one product backlog going into the system. It's only one Scrum team. They produce increments by the end of every sprint. The increment should be releasable, otherwise you have no idea whether your users will appreciate it or not if you never release it. Or if you release it only once a year. Why are you then doing all that hard work of iteratively implementing, making progress every 3 weeks if you only release once a year? It's very strange thinking. So, but then things become difficult. So think about again that increment as your customer's experience. That's what you want to provide. Yeah. Now things can become a little bit more difficult. Multiple teams working on one product. Well, simplicity of Scrum. The rules of Scrum don't change. You have one product backlog going into the system. The system consists of multiple teams. That's fine. So you're doing Scrum with multiple teams. That's okay, but it's still Scrum. So you have one product backlog going into the system. And the goal of Scrum is still to look at your customers, your users, and produce increments of software that you could potentially release. Meaning, if you're working with multiple teams, having non-integrated increments means they're not released, alright? So an increment is for the product, not for a team. So the product backlog, one product owner, information flowing into the teams, and the teams themselves create integrated increments. So it becomes a little bit more difficult, but still the rules of Scrum don't change because you just try to do it with multiple teams. So let's just back to the basics of Scrum, creating DOM increments of software. Yeah? So little question again, we'll take 2 minutes again. Talk with your team fellows again, use phone to team screening. In your current project, your latest project, your current development track, whatever you're doing right now, are you delivering increments? Have you been delivering an increment like every sprint? And was your increment actually releasable? And was it actually releasable every sprint? So, can you quickly share some stuff again? 2 minutes. A couple of reasons. What makes it so difficult to create releasable software sprint after sprint after sprint? Who's creating actually releasable versions of software every 2-3 weeks? What makes it so hard?
And that you're still in an old style release process within that, so we have
Okay, so your increments are still being transferred to release department. Who's still releasing increments to the QA department of things? They're not really releasable either. So very difficult. So we've been doing this for sort of almost a year now. This sort of little survey with people, and on average in audiences, there's like maybe 5 out of 100 people say we can actually do this, and even for us it's really extremely hard. A while ago I talked to Jeff Sullivan. He's been doing this also in Silicon Valley types of environments, and even over there, all those hipsters and stuff producing fancy stuff. Even he said like only 10 or 20% of all teams say they do Scrum are actually producing releasable software by the end of every sprint. So this seems to be very, very, very difficult. It's still, for me, it's the core purpose of Scrum. It's why Scrum was invented. Because it's all about the inspection and adaptation, right? You want to also inspect what you've done, your assumption of value against users, market appreciation, and so on. So again, a little call to action. What is stopping you from doing something about it? What is stopping you from kicking those Scrum Masters' butt and saying, Scrum Master, go do some useful work for us. Remove some impediments for us. Get management in, get release departments in, get people thinking. And does your management know? So, again, a call to action. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, if Scrum around for a lot like 20 years, and just using the figures that you said there, 10 or 20% only produce releasable increments. In your experience, why is that?
My weight's only 10 or 20%?
Yeah, because it's such a small figure for a methodology that's been around for such a long time. So, just from what we've seen on the road, what are the reasons behind that?
Yeah, because things take time to start with. So moving away from that so we've been so embedded educating that sort of industrial thinking. No, first you have to analyze, then you have to design, and only then can you produce. This is about continuous discovery, it's a journey, it's about getting away from upfront expectations. So in my little book I described two major challenges. That was 3 years ago. I think they're still very valid. So what I call that product ownership. It's still very difficult to have like business product management people take on that product owner role. Not only the product owner role, but also engaged as part of development teams. That sort of requirements is part of development, right? So that's a difficulty, product ownership. So Scrum started being adopted by IT departments a lot as the new IT process. The new IT process to deliver within the company from IT to business. But it should be outward focused, not just internal delivery. That one aspect, and the second challenge I saw by then, I call it extreme adoption. Getting people to understand at sort of the high level, executive levels, what this thing Scrum is about, and in a way turn it into coaches of agility, where they understand that it's moving away. So there's a big shift we need going away from predictive management to empirical management. Management embracing that empiricism, and management understanding that you get a lot more control out of the ability to inspect and adapt than to have built roadmaps for the next 3 years. It has to be completely different. So things take time. So one call to action, let's help those people understand Scrum better and use Scrum. Yeah. Cool. So there's a lot of difficulties. Maybe there's stuff we can do. Who has a definition of done in place? Because that's a start, right? Okay. That's cool. Well, a lot of people. I don't think I saw all hands raised again of all people said that we're doing Scrum. That's in the way Scrum. There's people out there who will say, well, a definition of done, that's not part of Scrum because it's not an artifact. Oh, well, it is. There's an artifact called increment in Scrum. The artifact is described as potentially, I always leave out the potentially, releasable in some is already notion of releasable. So there is the notion of producing done increment by the end of every sprint. An increment's not really done, it's not releasable. If you don't have a definition of done in place, you're not creating transparency, right? The goal of the definition of done is to create transparency over at least that's sort of the basic information that we want to have. By the end of every sprint, what is the actual state of our increment? Is it actually releasable? No, it's done, but done doesn't reflect releasable yet. Maybe you want to move towards that. Maybe those are your first impediments to resolve or to get your Scrum to resolve. How can we actually produce releasable increments and not just done as it is right now defined? So there's two levels of transparency. You're looking for, first of all, the state of the increment by the end of the sprint. And then hopefully that will drive you towards a sort of improvement cycle so that you can move to the state of an increment actually being releasable at the end of the sprint. And that's again sort of an indication of the Scrum ant that I'd love to promote instead of the Scrum bird. Yes, you do Scrum if you have a definition of done in place. But you know what? The benefits you will get out of Scrum are probably limited if your definition of done only includes coding. I would hold at least it's got some sort of testing included in it. Maybe it's even better if your increments are not just tested, but also integrated and regression tested and maybe performance tested and integrated at least. And maybe that's when you move towards a releasable increment. And maybe there's even a brighter future where increments are not just releasable, but valuable. I'll come back to that. Try to help you, give you some ideas maybe. So a definition of done serves to create transparency. No definition of done means no transparency. You're undermining Scrum. Now transparency can be really, really painful. But still try to go through the pain and try to still survive and not get fired. I'm just being biased by what's happening behind you. So, cool. Quick question. So here we have two products. Distillation metaphor, Scrum metaphor, whatever. They hopefully both have a sort of definition of done in place. What would you think is, which product had the best definition of done? Who thinks that this product had the best definition of done? Yeah? One hand, couple hands, one hand. People scared. Concentrate. What's he trying to make us trip over? Who thinks this product had the best definition of done? Yeah, more people. That's really fascinating. Agile people. Everybody goes for the second one. There's a lot of hands not raised. Why did the other people not raise their hands? Both? Have the best definition of that? Okay. Yeah, it's a devious question. There's no answer to this. They are very different products. I would hope that they have very specific definitions of done that are in line with expectations of the users, probably also the budget of the users, quality expectations. I would hope that they had a very different definition of done, stating very different product qualities. So it's not about this black and white, better or worse, whatever. Very different. I would certainly hope that they have definitions of done that absolutely reflect what the product should look like, how it should be perceived, hopefully describing the impact it might have on their market, how it would entice or tempt customers to buy the product and so on. So just an opening to say it's about product qualities a lot. So who recognizes these elements as part of the definition of done? If you have a definition of done in place, oh yeah, it has to be U8, it has to be developed using maybe pair programming, test-driven development, things like BDD nowadays. Who recognizes these elements as part of your definition of done? Yeah? Okay, cool. That's what we see a lot. It's in a way what I would love to call more like development standards. So one of the hidden aspects of Scrum. If you're applying empiricism, if you're fully going for inspection adaptation, you need to have agreement standards in place against which you want to inspect. Otherwise, you have no idea what you're doing. If as a team, a Scrum team or development team within a Scrum team, if you don't have the proper development standards in place, how can you inspect and adapt? How can you work towards something? How can you, as a team of maybe 7, 8, 9 people, inspect where you are somewhere mid-sprint if you don't have proper development standards in place? But still, a good start to have those in your definition of done. But what if you would have elements like this as your definition of done? At all times, you want to have a clean code base. At all times, you want to make sure that in your code base, you only have code for valuable functionality. Features that are actually being used. Not all those dead features that nobody ever uses, that complicate your code base, that make it very difficult for even every little tiny change. What if you would have a product owner in place that is willing to spend budget for a full sprint to remove features and not just add features? So, these might be like product qualities. Let's hope that over time we will see sort of things balancing out a little bit more. From only pure development standards to like product qualities, describing qualities of your product, and that's the goal for your development team. Why would you not produce increments by the end of your sprint? How you produce it, that's sort of part of your self-organization. You want to use practices that are common within the organization probably, but still, that's part of the way you organize as a development team. What if you would have some product qualities in mind as a goal? But if by the end of the sprint you don't have a clean code base, valuable functionality, only it lives up to SLAs and performance expectations and so on, it's in tune with expectations of the market. Well, hopefully then over time, that's really the difference between that's purely releasable, that's what I would call valuable. That would help us build valuable increments and not just releasable increments. Now building releasable increments is already enough of a challenge, I know. Still, let's raise the bar again a little bit. So why not? Yeah? So let's not just try to be releasable by the end of the sprint, but create valuables. If documentation is important for your software in production, it should be part of the definition as well. You might be overloaded with documentation expectations, so it's fine to push back. If somebody says, oh, it can only go into production if it's got these 20 documents and all these sort of details, why would you not, as a development team, push back and question the value of that documentation? Is that documentation actually valuable? That's fine. So in a way, that's also creating feedback loops with other departments, QA departments, guidelines. The goal of maybe other departments, QA department, is to provide teams with guidelines, not blueprints. This is what we expect from great software. This is what we expect from architecture of great software. It's not how you have to build your architecture for this specific application. Guidelines, rules to follow. And then it's up to the team to follow them. And how they follow them, it's up to them. You recognize that? Scrum teams sort of say, no, documentation, that's not part of Scrum. They don't want, just because they don't like doing that. If a user manual is needed to put something into production, wouldn't it be straight that you wouldn't update that book? No, this is Agile, we don't do documentation anymore. But if you would try to build high quality software, maybe documentation is part of that. Right? Cool. So actually, Done is pretty crucial in Scrum. It is part of Scrum because it is actually in an artifact. Maybe more difficult to understand for certain people. It's also very important to enhance transparency. No transparency, no inspection adaptation, or no proper inspection adaptation. So it's very key. If you want to do product delivery based on empiricism, it's absolutely key. It's how you achieve business agility. By having the ability to put a new version of your product on the market every 2-3 weeks. It's not necessarily every 2-3 weeks. You might wrap a couple of sprints in a release. That does not reduce the expectation to have releasable software by the end of every sprint. If a product owner decides to go into production every 3 sprints, after that 3rd sprint, that product owner should still not be hindered by additional development or technical work that still needs to be performed. So it doesn't reduce the idea of releasability by the end of every sprint, and it's a great purpose. If your people want to create really great products and you want to be famous and known for the product that they're building, and not just the role that they have within the company, what do you do within the company? Oh, I work on that product. No, I'm the chief architect. No, that's the difference. What if you would try to be connected to and engage with the product that you're building? So that's a great purpose. So it's actually crucial in Scrum. So looking at the past of Scrum, 21 years of Scrum, in a way it feels like we're still stuck with the #1 challenge of Scrum, producing done increments of software. The world is moving in our direction. You start believing it. It's not only like, oh, Agile might work, but we've sort of come out of the dungeons and we have surfaced. It's great. We've got a lot more education and teaching to bring to a lot of people. Cool. I look forward to doing that. Let's try to take it one more step and try to. We don't predict the future anymore, right? We try to forecast the future. Very important distinction. Let's do. Now, Done requires a lot of things. Think about it. This is also part of maximizing Scrum, getting more out of even one Scrum team. Have proper teams in place if they're really collaborative. If they can be stable, if they can focus on one product at the same time only, and 3 products. If they're not spread over 3, 5, 6 time zones, then 7 locations, things like that, it will help. Again, working in a distributed environment, a scaled environment, fine. It does not change the rules of Scrum. So there's a huge tendency, let's bend the rules of Scrum to our situation. No, more difficult. Try to stick with Scrum and then see what it delivers you in your context, in your situation. So, looking at the future a little bit, I would hope that after these first 2+ decades of Scrum by now, we started to sort of, we're getting Scrum. We're starting to understand Scrum. We've got the process, we understand a lot of places the value of the process, the empiricism, the continuous inspection adaptation, also the continuous improvement or the continuous adaptation to new circumstances. Let's give people something new to think about, maybe for the next year or so, the next 20 years or so. But it's no longer about just understanding Scrum and using, applying Scrum, but I think it should be about enacting Scrum, really ingraining Scrum, ingraining the values, the principles, and enact upon them. And I think that's a bit of a challenge. Done is only where it starts. So we're done? Cool, that's a start. That's fascinating. So let's think about it. Again, that calls to action. We can all sit around and wait for our problems to be solved by other people. I think Scrum is a great framework, a great context to actually take action. Do something. It's only for 2-3 weeks. Then you will do a review, you will retrospect on what you've done, you will try to change, adapt, improve. But try something, do something. Try to ignore some of the expectations that are put on you. Yeah? So, and in new sprints for that continuous discovery, that sort of journey. So take action, don't sit around waiting. I think what might really guide us in the end is the Scrum values. So those are the 5 Scrum values. Have a look at them, think about them, how can they drive your behavior? Because values in a way is what drives your behavior. How can you ingrain those values more and then even apply, use the Scrum process from understanding those values? What does it mean to be respectful towards very diverse people in the team, diverse skills, openness for skills, openness for working with people? What if you would try to really focus, working on one product, one goal, one sprint at the same time? Not look forward to like, sprint 7, now sprint 1, in sprint 7 I think we're going to have to do that. Don't let that block you, no, focus on sprint 1. Use product backlog for your roadmaps and your long-term vision as well. But certainly, let's always go back to what I call Scrum's DNA. So the DNA of Scrum consists of 2 elements for me: empiricism, self-organization. Self-organization is probably the most difficult part. Also as a product owner. No, I want you all to be finished, to do all that work by the end of this sprint. Well, we're product owner, we'll try, we'll do our best, but you know what, we made a forecast of sprint coming, we'll do our best to build the forecast, but there's lots of things that can happen. Plugins can fail, interfaces cannot be available, promised infrastructure is not there, or requirements themselves might change. There's so much unpredictability. We'll do our best. You know what? We'll see what happens at the sprint review. You know what? At the sprint review, we will learn, we will respect, we will change. We can change direction. You can have those built very different things in a sprint. Just sprints are done. But anyway, product owner respecting self-organization of the development. And try to look as a product owner, be a little bit of a servant leader. Show leadership in the fact that you have a product vision, that you have this backlog in mind, that you have the definition of value in mind, that you want to go towards a certain situation, and then be sort of that servant aspect of servant leadership. You can't enforce that. You can facilitate people, you can coach people, you can give them insights into business expectations, into user requirements and so on. Be a servant leader as a product owner too. So, self-organization, empiricism, be open for inspection, adaptation, even every day. It's the purpose of at least a daily Scrum, at a daily basis as a development team, inspect and adapt where you are. Inspect where you are so that you can adapt and make a better price in the next 24 hours. And whether you use the 3 questions for that, I think that's sort of technical. It's about the purpose. Replan your work for the day so that you can make the best possible progress towards your sprint goal. So that would certainly help us thinking about Scrum's DNA. Yeah? And another thing that I'm currently working on a lot with some organizations is what I call a Scrum Studio. A way for organizations to sort of get Scrum better. And it often helps to get a sort of box around Scrum, a sort of container around Scrum, what we call a Scrum Studio, an environment within which you actually do Scrum. So it might be that you've gone to Scrum overnight. I've known people in the Netherlands that have done that. Oh, we've got, I don't know, 500 teams, and from day 1 to day 2, they're all doing Scrum. Well, maybe look for the people that are really enacting, are really using Scrum, and use them to grow Scrum better within the company. So that means select one product, one project, do Scrum in it, but do Scrum in a way, all the way, up to the level of setting up your deployment pipelines and so on, which is a pretty big difficulty in our company, but setting up a deployment pipeline so that you can go in through the deployment pipeline in automated steps and so on. Yeah. But create a Scrum studio. Now select one project, do Scrum properly, but just create that sort of virtual wall around it seems to help a lot of organizations. Oh yeah, okay, inside of those walls we're going to do Scrum. We're going to do Scrum all day. Okay, do it. Learn from it, inspect, adapt, add a project to that, add a project to that, and at some point in time, all your product development will be done through Scrum properly. It will have an impact, but define some ins and outs of a Scrum Studio. But within the Scrum Studio, it will no longer be about utilization. It's no longer about capacity, resources, resource planning, whatever. It's about delivering value. It's about the input are probably IDs, options, product IDs. They will be transferred into product backlog probably. The output of your Scrum Studio would be valuable increment. A way to, it's a lot with communication and how you present things to organizations, but it seems to help. I think it's most important for me in the idea of Scrum Studio or Scrum Software Studio, whatever you want to call it, is that it's not just about creating great products. It's also about helping people develop themselves. It's not just about product development, it's also about people development. You know, it starts and ends with people. If you're going through an agile, whatever you call it, transformation right now, don't forget to start with people. It's about people. Okay, cool. So that's sort of the end of my talk, future present of Scrum. Fascinating thing is, all events in Scrum are sort of forward-looking. They're never about assessing, evaluating, judging, condemning the past. It's always looking forward. Sprint planning is looking forward, daily Scrum is looking forward, sprint review is looking forward, sprint retrospective is looking forward. Maybe Scrum Studio or adopting Scrum, you might want to create some additional feedback loops on top of Scrum to help the organization get Scrum and get Scrum by implementing, adopting it, using special adaptation. So think about it. Scrum Studio might help you sort of re-engage your workforce, which is very important. Yeah. So future present of Scrum. Well, a lot of the future challenges are still the past challenges, creating done software, but we still have a great future in living up to those challenges. Okay, thank you very much for being here, 300 people. Have a great day.